What's up everyone, John from ARTV. It's time for a review of probably the most anticipated album that I've covered thus far in 2017 on my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about the fourth studio album by rapper Kendrick Lamar. It's called Damn, and I am not going to stoop to the level of memeing it. Everybody who I've seen do a reaction or a first impression or some sort of review on the album has made a play on Damn because damn, it's fire. Damn, Kendrick knew he was going to blow us away. No, I'm just going to let the album title speak for itself and walk away. Let's transition into actually talking about this album's content, and first let's talk about the very interesting fan theory that's going around right now. It's something that whenever you're watching this video, you're probably watching it after this date is passed, and you probably are just going to look at this as, oh, maybe that was that one time that theory came out. But I have to say that they make some pretty convincing arguments. Now, the argument that's floating around before we actually start talking about the contents of Damn, how I feel about Kendrick and all of that good stuff, the arguments that's floating around online is basically saying that he dropped this album Damn on Good Friday, which is Easter, and it has the red album cover. There's been some references to the Matrix on the album itself, and a line that Kendrick delivers, and one of the producers, Soundwave from Top Dawg Entertainment, Kendrick's label, tweeted out a picture or a gif of the Matrix, basically the whole red pill, blue pill situation. And then of course you have the red album cover and the picture on Spotify of Kendrick standing in front of the blue wall. So people are like, oh, there's two albums, there have to be. And he's talking about obviously dying on Damn, and that's something at the end. You see the whole rewind effect, and at the very beginning on the first song, Blood, you hear the gunshot ring out from the blind lady that he's talking about in the song. And it's something that I guess makes sense. If he dies on this one and then rises again on Easter, if you're not really familiar with religion, Good Friday is the Friday before Easter, and that is the Friday in which Jesus was crucified. He died then, and then he rises again on Sunday, which is Easter Sunday for those who celebrate religion, Christianity, etc. Now, religion is a big theme on Kendrick's new album, Damn. He works that in, and really he comes across kind of scatterbrained in places, but I love that because he's really trying to get across different points and really trying to tell you and communicate where he's coming from, but he doesn't always know himself, and I think that's a big part of what makes this album work so well, especially with repeated listens once you appreciate the nuances. But that's what people are trying to piece together right now. That's the fan theories that are floating around. There's a lot of other stuff. I will link to a post that has it, and like I said, if this is already passed, read up on it. It was cool. You can read a little article that is on Genius in the description down below, and if he does drop a second album, then great. We have been blessed with more music from Kendrick Lamar. So let's see what happened on Damn. I'm going to do a track-by-track review today. I want to take you guys through this because I feel it's very important to actually get out my thoughts and not just get bogged down and maybe talking about one and I forget to talk about another. This way it ensures that I talk about and hit on every single song that I want to talk about for this record. Kendrick Lamar is my favorite rapper. I know I don't cover a ton of rap and hip-hop on this channel, but he's always someone that I look to as just kind of a voice of our generation. He can start a movement, and while not every single song is super intellectual or super in-depth about something, he always comes up with really clever lines and something that adds a punch with the production choices and everything like that. It's an absolute immersion, something whenever Kendrick is dropping an album, there's a reason that the nation gets excited and everybody really just seems to get behind it, except for those at Fox News. But we'll get into that as we go through my track-by-track review. Let's start with Blood.
Are we gonna live or die?
The title of every single song on this record is in caps, and I think that that's for a reason. It emphasizes exactly what he's feeling. Most of these are emotions or else things that he's dealing with, his vices, and even though he is a religious person, it seems he also struggles with things like being humble, whether it be lusting after someone or just greed in general. He deals with a lot of these things, and he also feels alienation from even friends, family, and the people around him, and people obviously trying to oppress him, like the people at Fox News, more specifically Geraldo Rivera. I believe that's his name. I've unfortunately known who he was for a long time. On this track, especially at the end, we see him transitioning to talking about a little bit more of a political theme, but throughout this record, Damn, I really see this as a less political project, but something that's really just flowing from Kendrick's mind, whether it be race relations or politics, but also relationships and people just feeling outcast as well, something where he feels like maybe he's on the outside of his family, and I like how he incorporates that. But on this opening track here, Blood, we see him just telling a little story. It starts off innocuous enough and really just could be anything. And he's saying, so I was taking a walk the other day and I seen a woman. And that's how it starts. That's the opening line here. And you're like, where is Kendrick going with this? And as he really starts to detail it, he's basically obviously telling a fictional story here where he ends up dying because the woman, as he walks up to her saying, do you need any help? And, you know, have you lost something? Can I help you find it? And she's like, you have lost something, your life. And she pulls the trigger of the gun. And then the bridge of the track really starts to talk about just wickedness and the overall themes of the record, I guess distractions and detractions for Kendrick, things that make him stumble and maybe question himself. And then it comes in just out of nowhere with this really cool kind of stuttered sample of the Fox News segment where he says, obviously, what he said on the Grammy Awards a couple of years ago, and they're talking about the performance over at Fox News, and he samples that. I love that they called him out, and he just goes and takes it and puts it on there, samples it on the record, and that bleeds into the second track as well.
I got loyalty, got royalty inside my DNA. Cocaine quarter piece, got war and peace inside my DNA.
There's a lot of tie-ins in this record that are really important to pay attention to. You might remember that The Heart Part 4 got dropped as a prelude single, isn't actually on Damn, but it's something that basically got people hyped for the record. He said pay attention to the date April 7th, and April 7th is the day that he drops Humble, and of course the track listing and a few other things for Damn, basically saying you can pre-order it here. He didn't actually have the track names, we could just see that there were 14 songs on it, and a few days later he rolls out the album. But more importantly here, I noticed something where he's counting down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, but that's something that plays into The Heart Part 4 and a couple of other parts of this record as well. Numbers are key. DNA is holy shit. It is flames, it is fuego, it is fire. Mike Will made it. I have a lot more respect for you as a producer now. I actually just talked about him in a video the other day, and it wasn't exactly in the most positive fashion, but after hearing Humble, I definitely saw what he could do with a beat, and we'll talk more about that obviously once we get to the single. But as far as DNA goes, the beat change up that comes in the middle, I thought it was going hard as it was, but as they add in that distorted, just kind of chopped up vocal thing that's going in the background, and Kenny continues to rap here, it's insane the intensity that he brings to this track. He's basically saying that he's got everything that he needs right inside of him. Everything that he needs, it's right there in his blood, boiling in his veins, and he's ready to take out anybody that is in his way. He says on a track later in the album that fear was something that presided over him and kind of dominated his life up until he was like 27 years old, back around the time that To Pimp a Butterfly was coming out. And for anyone wondering, yes, that album grew on me a lot. In fact, I eventually upped my rating to a 4.5. If I could rate a 4.75 on my scale, which I normally don't go quarters, I would definitely do that. But how does that tie into DNA? Well, here on the second verse, he actually says, tell me something, you motherfuckers can't tell me nothing. And I love that he comes across like so not scared whatsoever of judgment like he has been maybe in the past. Not that he came across like timid on his albums by any means. In fact, quite the opposite, but I feel like he's dealing with some personal demons. He's realizing that he does want to be more confrontational in those regards, and I think that calling out Fox News on multiple tracks, including the next one that we're about to talk about, is a perfect way to start that.
I got so many theories and suspicions. I'm diagnosed with real nigga conditions.
Kid Capri is well known, and I honestly feel like he gives Damn kind of a mixtape flow in places. He comes in on multiple tracks, and the first of those being Ya, track 3, which is once again going after a lot of different people, more specifically, at least mentioned by name, Fox News. This song was mostly produced by in-house producers over at Top Dawg, like Anthony Top Dawg himself, Soundwave, and DJ Dahi, who has a couple of really cool places where he comes in, even the intro on one of these tracks that we're going to talk about. But here more specifically, I feel like they went for a really, really cool chilled out beat. It's very mellow, and just the way that Kendrick is kind of stuttering the ya ya ya, it's something that a lot of people are saying maybe that's a reference to Yahweh, just because, like I said, there's so many religious references packed into this album. I think that that's really cool. If he is playing off of that, I can't say this is one of my top favorites here, but I appreciate the kind of mellow beat and the change of pace that this is for Kendrick.
I don't do it for the gram, I do it for Compton. I'm willing to die for the shit, nigga. I take your fucking life for the shit, nigga.
Track 4, Element, is one of my absolute favorites on Damn. It's something that is driven by this kind of synthy keyboard production that is really fascinating to listen to. It adds kind of a dark glow and aura to the track, alongside Kendrick, who gets a lot more upbeat. I love how he kicks off this track, I don't give a fuck, I don't give a fuck, I don't give a fuck, before actually breaking into his first verse, just saying that he's going above and beyond. He's willing to put his life on the line for what he does. He takes it so seriously, and he doesn't care about anybody that's going to get in his way. He's going to brush them right to the side, do whatever he has to do. And here, once again, there's a couple of really cool religious references that he packs in. I love the going eye to eye, get biblical with this shit, whatever he needs to take on, whatever he needs to do. And basically, he's also saying here that he has so many reasons to not give a fuck at this point. He has people in his family basically saying, oh, maybe you shouldn't do that, maybe you shouldn't do that. But at the same time, he also mentions that all of his grandmothers have died, the people that maybe he really looked up to and didn't want to let down, so maybe he has nothing to lose at this point, even though people are saying, don't do this, don't do this. He's saying, I don't do it for the fame, I don't do it for the likes on Instagram, I do it because I do what I need to do to get shit done. The keys progress and get a really nice shimmer to them, especially during the chorus. I like how he comes across. It was a little bit strange to me at first, but the more I listened to it, the more I was able to take this in and process it and realize that I really do thoroughly enjoy the chorus on it. It just sounded weird with him saying sexy at the end of a couple of lines, but the more I listened, I guess the more I was able to peel back exactly what was going on here. And basically what he's saying, if I've got to take care of someone, if I've got to go hard on this girl, I'm gonna do what I have to do and do it in my style. I'm gonna make it look good. I'm gonna do it K-Dot style and take care of business. Kendrick did a great job on this entire album, Damn, of just getting better as some of these songs go along. Like, some of the later verses are often some of the best ones, and he's like saving his best for last. And I think that that also appeals to me, because I don't like how a lot of things, they like try to get your attention right away, and that appeals to kind of like the attention deficit disorder generation that we are. We tend to just listen to maybe a snippet of something and we automatically have an opinion on it. No, he actually packs in here in his third verse some things that I really thoroughly enjoy, basically saying like, oh, they want to take advantage of me, I've got these people in my life that maybe want to come out to LA and get something for me for free, get something from me, see what they can do with my fame, with my money, my power that I have. You thought that I was this person that you saw on Instagram or on my albums. I'm twice as hard in real life. My three favorite things about this track are: one, the chorus. It's super earwormy and sticky. It really hits you the more you listen to it, and I do like that it's glossy but not overproduced. Two, I love the bridge on the track. I think it is really reeling me in the more I pay attention to it, and it's something that does kind of stick with the album's title, theme, damned if I do, damned if I don't, and then he comes in with something, just the way that he rattles off, damn, 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 it's a goddamn shame. It's fascinating to me. I don't know why, but that part just keeps getting stuck in my head. And three, I like that he references T-Bap on the third verse, his last LP. He basically says, last LP, I tried to lift the black artist, but it's a difference between black artist and whack artist. And he's basically not afraid to call anybody out here. Obviously with Humble, everybody thought he was talking about Big Sean, and it's probably true. We obviously can't prove it, but Lil Baby, Lil Bitch, it kind of puts a spin on the Big Sean, Lil Baby, Little Bitch, you know, play on words. I really enjoyed that. He basically said, look, I did all that I could on the last album, but here, you guys can't help yourself. If you're a whack artist, I'm gonna call you out on it.
I am legend, I feel like all of y'all is peasants. I feel like all of y'all is desperate. I feel like all it takes is a second to feel like.
Soundwave takes the helm for production on Feel, and it's a track that I really do enjoy because it's once again kind of on the more mellow side of things and focuses on live instrumentation. You notice a nice little bass groove going and some rattling drums that are just going subtly in the background, and the beat stays pretty consistent. This is one of the more consistent, non-changing tracks. And it's not that it doesn't have anything to it or that it doesn't evolve, but I think this is one of the most honest and to-the-point songs that he has on the entire record. He addresses issues with family and feeling alienated and just how he feels like maybe he's on a high horse sometimes throughout the album, but this is the one that is the most poignant. It's the one that strikes the hardest on this topic and where he really just spills his guts and confesses exactly what he's feeling. He feels like his family is maybe cutting him off in places, and in other places maybe he's putting up walls against other people and he doesn't exactly know if he likes that, but it's something that he knows that he has to do. Maybe it's just speculation on my part, but that's what I'm taking away from this track. And I think the main thing that I find myself focusing on here are, I think, Kendrick's second verse and obviously the instrumental as well. It's something that's not exactly a top favorite for me, but still very solid, and I really do enjoy it.
I'm a savage, I'm an asshole, I'm a king. Shimmy ya, shimmy ya, shimmy ya, right. You can tell your nigga he can meet me outside.
Why not Rihanna? 5 years ago, I might have been a little bit more questionable just because of how dominant in the pop territory that she was, but honestly, DJ Dawg comes through with a fire beat. He does the intro on this. It's something that kind of sets the tone. It's almost kind of a slow burn club banger, and it's something that sets you ablaze as it goes. And you really can't deny how catchy it is, especially as it comes through with the repeated royalty, 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 except it's loyalty, loyalty, loyalty. Kendrick embraces his new nickname Kung Fu Kenny, and then Rihanna goes with the whole bad girl Riri thing with something that she's embraced as she's gone from the good girl gone bad all the way back in the day whenever she was first debuting and really getting popular in the scene. That's probably still her most well-known album to date, and it's something that I grew up with. To see her on this album with Kendrick Lamar doing something totally different, it's just kind of a cool experience for me, and this is a song that is pretty undeniably catchy and fun overall. I like Kendrick's flow on the track. It's something that sees Rihanna taking on a little bit more of a glossy and processed feel, and it really matches with DJ Dawg's intro vocals on the track. So overall, great flow, great vibe, one of the best songs here, I think.
I ain't perfect, I probably won't come around. This time I might put you down. Last time I ain't give a fuck, I still feel the same now.
I can't say that Pride is a top favorite for me. I know a lot of people are probably going to feel differently than that, and can I just say how annoying the Kendrick dick writers are? If you don't give everything a perfect review, then they're just all over it. It's just like people have different opinions on things. I know this is a mid-album review rant, but seriously, it's tiring sometimes. I mean, I gave To Pimp a Butterfly a super positive review, and people were like, oh, you didn't give it a 5 out of 5? You're irrelevant. Anyways, what mainly doesn't do it for me on Pride is the feature. I don't like the singing here, and I do like that Anna Wise is back, and she does a great job with Kendrick anytime they come together. Their parts are great, but what brings it down for me is the pacing, the length, and the feature. I just don't think the high-pitched singing was really that necessary. I understand what they were going for with it, and obviously at the end they're repeating maybe I wasn't there, and that's Anna Wise and Kendrick, but right before that, was Steve Lacy really all that necessary on the track? Some would argue so, but I argue not. Pride is definitely something that affects Kendrick and gets in his way sometimes, perhaps in his love life as well, and here I think he makes a direct reference to his track These Walls off of To Pimp a Butterfly, and which also had Anna Wise on it, so that is cool. I like the correlation there. You're seeing guests from the last album. Anna's been around for a while working together. You see Thundercat pop up on bass on one of these tracks. It's something that I do like seeing the guests cross over again. It feels like they're moving with Kendrick. And here, I do like their aspects of the track. I don't want you to think that I don't like this song, but there's just pacing problems that I feel like bring it down for me.
I remember syrup sandwiches and crime allowances, finesse a nigga with some counterfeits, but now I'm counting this.
The moment you've all been waiting for, my review and reaction to Humble by Kendrick Lamar. I know you guys were dying for me to talk about this one. I don't know why I didn't. I thought that he was going to release the album. I thought he was just going to drop the whole thing and pull a To Pimp a Butterfly on us. But fortunately, in that week, I got time to obviously focus and hone in on this single Humble, loving it, and I got to revisit his albums from Section 80 to my personal favorite Good Kid, Mad City, and obviously To Pimp a Butterfly as well. And then, coming back to Humble, just hours before I got my hands on this record to listen to it for the first time, I really just saw how much I love this track and how important it is now in the context of this record, because it's kind of the focal point. It's right in the center, and it's something that has a lot of meat on the bones. And once again, Mike Will made it. You killed it on the production here. It's got such a great bounce that really just energizes the listener. I can see why this dominated, and I love it. It's like early 2000s taking over again. And I do wish that more of the album had that kind of pep to it. Humble, come on. You don't even give other rappers a chance. Here, he dominates on every single bar that he spits. Everything that he's talking about, whether it be the problems that he sees with just the reality of people and women anymore, you can't see anything real. Everything feels photoshopped and fake, to the right hook and the left hook, which obviously there's a lot of speculation over, but clearly he's trying to take somebody down a notch. He's not being humble at all. In fact, this is kind of the antithesis to the definition of humble, but that's what makes it so great in my mind. He's clearly very braggadocious on this track, like a lot of people have said, just pounding on his chest, furious, just ready to take on the world.
Wake up in the morning thinking about money, kick your feet up. Hop in the shower, put on your makeup, lace your weave up. Touch on yourself, call up your nigga, tell him he shit.
Whew, have you noticed that the heat is coming on a little bit strong over here? Kendrick, cool it off for a minute. I need to finish the review. On the track Lust, that's the next one that we're going to deal with here, I have a few issues with it. I don't care for the kind of trembly way that Kendrick delivers the hook of this song, and even though I like what's going on lyrically, I don't think maybe it's the most clever thing in the world. Let me put the head in, you know, she said it's okay. Even though I don't care for that much, I like that he's able to translate that into a much better song as it goes on, even going as far as to sample somebody who didn't even know that they got sampled. I'm talking about Rap Boy over in England across the pond. Kendrick just somehow sampled that or had one of his producers pull that and work it in, and I like how he interplays that and then also has some kind of backmasking going on, and then if you play that forward it actually says something. It's really weird. This is one of the most straightforward and simple songs on the record in terms of its lyrics. It's basically talking about what's going on in a day-to-day scenario. Weed, bitches, taking a shit. It's all covered, it's all checked off here, but somehow the instrumental that goes with it really just fits the vibe of the song, and I find myself just kind of, you know, kind of simmering to it, kind of moving, kind of doing a little white boy dance to this song like I know everyone would laugh at, but that's okay. I do enjoy this song in places, but there's definitely problems that I have with it too, so I'm just gonna say I'm on the fence with Lust.
I know what you need. Already on 10, all money come in, all feeling go out, this feeling don't drought, this party won't end.
Oh, did I say that I was on the fence with something? Because I'm standing up right now. I'm off the fence because we have Love up next, featuring the singer Zakori. You, sir, sound fantastic on this track. I had never previously heard of you, but this makes me want to pay attention and hear a whole lot more. It's fantastic on the hook, especially just the way that he comes across. Give me a run for my money. There was nobody, no one to outrun me. He comes across braggadocious, but then he also says at the end of it, I want to be with you. I want to be with you. He repeats that phrase before Kendrick comes in with the refrain, which is probably my favorite part of the song, just because he does adopt this kind of sing rap style on this track, something that's very mainstream friendly, but at the same time, not like a pop offense like Bad Blood, the remix there. Let's pretend that that didn't happen, Kendrick. On here, he comes across with something that's super really smooth. It's something that's very, very appealing to me. If I didn't ride Blade on curb, would you still love me? Basically saying, if I didn't have the fancy cars, if I didn't have everything, would you still be here? Are you only here for my money? And he almost questions himself a little bit here. There's a bit of doubt. It's like he knows the answer. He knows that his girl's with him because of the right reasons, but at the same time, there's always a little bit of question just because he did blow up. And it's like, he's probably gonna stay there now, so will he ever truly know? Love tells a great story. It's a fantastic track. I hope to hear this in the mainstream. I hope to see it tearing up the Spotify, iTunes, radio charts, whatever it might be. I hope to see this chart inside of the top 40 on the Billboard Hot 100 because this song is, if anything, is fire. If I know I don't describe things like that generally, but if anything is fire, Love is.
I wait in front of niggas spot and watch him hit his block. I catch a nigga leaving service if that's all I got. I chip a nigga, then throw the blower in his lap.
Where do I even start with the praise for Triple X? It's an eargasm as it comes across. It starts off slow and it builds that big synth line that kind of drives up. I love the scratching. Once again, Mike Will comes in with a banger of a beat. All three songs that he produced on this record are fantastic. I love that, and I have to give him props there, and also props for not sticking your little Mike Will made it tagline at the start of each song. I don't know how big of an artist that you have to be in order to not have that, or how much you have to pay him to get that cut out. There's turntable scratches, driving synth lines, and just a great bass boom about this track. It kind of gives you a dark urgency because Kendrick is quiet at the beginning of this song. It's not whisper rap by any means, but he's talking about basically throw them meat on the bones to these sharks, to all these people that are lurking out here. They're gonna chomp on it instantly. They're gonna take every bit that they can. And then the beat change up comes in and it's just out of this world. Where did those like siren effects come from? And why do they work so damn well every time? I just want to crank up the volume to max. It's the meme of the person turning it up to 11 with the headphones on. I beg you, listen to these songs from start to finish. They get better as they go. And this one proves the point once again. If you don't listen to any other songs from the project, maybe you only heard Humble, at least check out these past two songs because they come back to back. They are extremely different. Love versus Triple X and U2 is on it, seriously, you have to at least try these.
I probably die anonymous, I probably die with promises, I probably die walking back home from the candy house.
I've already mentioned this a couple of times, but his cousin Carl delivers the opening voicemail on this track, Fear, which is a massive favorite of mine. This is an epic song, one that strikes and just really kind of dares into you because you know some of these situations, and it makes you feel a little bit like you know Kendrick better, and especially as we get inside of his mind here at 3 different stages in his life. He tells us 3 different stories with 3 verses, and the chorus is a little bit jarring just because it doesn't quite fit perfectly, but the more I listen to it, the less jarring it's become, I guess I have to say. So with the first verse, he's 7, then he's 17, then he's 27, and he has 3 different problems. I instantly recognize the guitar riff on this track because it is a very mellow one, once again featuring live instrumentation, which I love. That's a big part of why I love To Pimp a Butterfly so much, but I did a little bit of Googling, a couple of Google searches, and instantly almost found out, hey, he sampled his own damn track, The Heart Part 4. He liked that so much that it made its way over to Fear. I would call verse number 4 kind of an outro of sorts, really a summation of everything, but it also is kind of a fear. It's basically saying, what if I fall off? What if I can't make these songs anymore? What if people stop loving my albums? What if instead of a 95 on Metacritic, I'm getting a 76 or a 66 or something like that? What if I run out of fuel for the flame? And that's something that is very real for myself as a content creator. It's something that's real for artists, which I respect so much that they are able to put out stuff so often. And Kendrick striking back just 2 years later, and even a year after his Untitled Unmastered project, which was recorded back in 2014 as well, with To Pimp a Butterfly, obviously, but he's putting out a lot of material. He's putting out a lot of quality material, and I understand feeling like, how do I top this? God, I wish maybe they hadn't loved it quite that much, because how do I top this? He raps about how he can't take these feelings to the afterlife, so he hopes that they disperse and go away, and I really like what he says here. Within 14 tracks carried out over wax, searching for resolutions until somebody get back. He's basically saying over the course of these 14 songs on Damn, that obviously he references a couple of times as well, digital and physical formats are always going to be a part of his releases. He likes putting things out on vinyl and CD as well, carried out over wax, talking about listening to vinyl records. And as these 14 songs play, I think he's saying maybe you get a little bit more of what's going on up here in my mind. And that is why I love this song so much.
What is you talking to? Hey, do you know who you talking to? Slide on you like falling drapes. God, twist full of carnivals.
As a song, God did jump out to me at first, but it's something that I've kind of fallen off with as I got more interested in other moments in the track listing. It is kind of an off-kilter beat, shifting as it progresses, and the themes here seem to compare himself to God in places, and then talk about maybe being humble in another, so it's seemingly contradictory, but at the same time, he always knows exactly what he's doing. It comes across very poised here. I can't say that it's a top favorite, but I really do respect the song. He's basically saying, I don't always have to make these grand statements in order to actually say something and get your attention.
What's the process of digest poverty's dialect? Adaptation inevitable. Gun violence, crack spot, federal policies, rape builders and drug professionals.
Ah, here we have a classic to close things out. This is seriously such a great song. Kendrick always does things right whenever it comes to album closers, and this is no exception. It starts off kind of in a different pacing. It was always me versus the world. Why? It's something that's catchy. Once again, I like how it comes across. And then it samples a Ted Taylor song from 1978 and also an Earth, Wind, and Fire track. He was really all over the place, and I think that that's really cool with where he lifted those samples and managed to work them into the song without really killing the flow of it whatsoever. And once it picks up to actually telling the story, that's when things get cooking, literally and in the song. It's something that's really telling the tale of his father, who was nicknamed Ducky, and Anthony, aka Top Dawg. Top Dawg Entertainment might never have happened. He might have been locked up if not for what happened and transpired in this story. So apparently Kendrick's dad worked the window at a KFC, 1984. Top Dawg actually planned to rob it because he had robbed it before. But Ducky knew this. He wanted to get on Anthony's good side, so he started giving him like an extra biscuit or two and throwing in some free chicken. And whenever they did rob the place, guess who didn't die? Ducky. And as he wraps it all up at the end, basically saying, you know, if that had actually happened, you know, the greatest rapper alive wouldn't have made it alive because Ducky would have died right there on the spot. So fortunately, he played it cool. He played it smart. He got in with them, and here we have, years later, just out of pure coincidence, them working things out in the studio, working together, and Kendrick's been on Top Dawg for a long time now. And then, right after that, it just throws everything into reverse. And at the start of this track, he says, let's put it in reverse. And then, they actually do that at the end of the song, and it's something that really just calls back to the entire record. You hear flashes, it's like your whole life flashing before your eyes, and maybe that's what Kendrick was going for with the reverse effect. Obviously, whenever you're about to die or dying, people say that your life flashes before your eyes. Well, with him dying at the end of Damn, or at the start of Damn, depending on how you look at it on the track Blood, where he gets shot, that gunshot, it rings out again, and then everything starts playing in reverse. And then he says the opening line once again, the opening line of the album. So I was taking a walk the other day. It comes across so simple, but at the same time, so smart and calculated. Don't think or mistake Kendrick. He has every move in the book planned out. Well, that was my interpretation and review of Kendrick Lamar's Damn. What did you guys think of it? Let me know in the comments section down below. Keep in mind it was just all my interpretation, my opinion here, and I don't think this is his best album by any means. Still standing tall for me. It's really almost neck and neck for Good Kid, Mad City and To Pimp a Butterfly. I really enjoy Section 80 as well, but I do feel like this album Damn kind of called back to and got back to themes that he was tackling on Section 80, a little bit more down to earth, not so focused on telling like a driven narrative like Good Kid, Mad City, growing up and all the problems that he was dealing with peer pressure and stuff like that, getting into trouble, and it wasn't so political like To Pimp a Butterfly was. It focused on a lot of different things, and it succeeds because it is sporadic. You get into his mind and it works out pretty exceedingly well for him. For me, I have to give this a strong 4 out of 5 and a very high recommendation. There's something for really everyone, even if you like slower stuff, if you like the more in-your-face stuff, or if you like something that's a little bit more experimental and just offers you a different side of Kendrick and hip-hop. So go ahead, stream Damn, listen to it. I'm sure you probably already have. And if you have an opinion on it, let me know in the comments. Be sure to leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel because friends don't let friends go and subscribe. If you would, help me out on Patreon. It's the link over there in the corner. Help the videos and reviews keep coming on a monthly basis. You can click here for a recent Kendrick Lamar video that I did, or if you would like to see me do a top 10 for Kendrick, sound off in the comments as well. But until then, here's another Kendrick Lamar review. All of my social media linked in the description, and I'll see you very soon right here on ARTV.